Hello and welcome. Today I'm so excited to be celebrating a very wonderful woman, Elizabeth Carney, who is a soul fixer. Elizabeth, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure, my pleasure indeed.
Well, the pleasure is all mine, Elizabeth, and I am absolutely really excited to hear exactly what is it that you do and how comes you got to be doing what you do.
Okay. It's a bit of a long story, but I am a transformational coach and holistic healer, really. How did I get there? I had a 25-year international corporate career. Lots of training, lots of process work, lots of quality work, lots of structure, really. And, I managed big teams, both in the UK and internationally, worked on cross-functional, cross-country projects, all sorts of things. So my life was always projects, processes, and so on, but also very much involved in leading and managing people through to results. So a lot of coaching and mentoring through my career anyway. When I came out of corporate around 2011, I started to do what I'd always done. So I went off consulting and then found that I was doing more coaching of small business owners than more, as much as I was consulting, I was coaching them on all sorts of stuff. So naturally I decided to develop my my coaching skills. And the backstory to all of this is that as well as having come out of corporate, it happened at a time in my life where a few months previously, my dad had died. Then my husband left. And then my son, it wasn't a leaving home as such, because he wasn't that old, but he went off to boarding school. And suddenly, everything I knew about my life, everything I thought it was going to be, everything I thought it was, had all gone. And I was absolutely 100% lost, totally devastated. There aren't really any words to describe it. And to be honest, I went inside. I didn't speak to anybody. I didn't know who to speak to. I went through all the emotions, embarrassment and fear and shame. And, looking back, I know now that it wasn't actually my fault, but I had nowhere to go, nobody to talk to, or at least I didn't think that I had anybody to talk to. So I evolved my coaching to the point where the people I help now tend to be professional women in their 50s who have come out of corporate or their professional role, and they've also got stuff going on at home. So possibly an impending divorce, kids leaving home, aging sick, dying parents. And the more people I talk to, the more people say to me, "You're talking about me," or "I wish I'd known about you when I went through blah, blah, blah," whatever they went through. So from me sitting there on my own, thinking it's only me, I'm all on my own, I've realized as the years have gone by that exactly the same sorts of things happen to so many people. And I just thought, they need somebody to go to. They need somebody who can go, "I've been there, I've got the t-shirt, I understand you, and I can help." So that's really the journey, how I got there. And although I have a framework, I work holistically with every individual, and they get what they need, because as well as coaching, I've had a lifelong interest in holistic and natural therapies. So I'm a trained, qualified Reiki master, a Rahani practitioner. I've done 12 months of shamanic training. I do sound healing with tuning forks and energy healing, a whole bunch of different things. And at times people have said, how on earth does that all fit together with the coaching? Well, it does, because quite often people who need coaching need healing and vice versa. So, as I said, I work transformatively and holistically with whoever's in front of me, with whatever they need at the time that I need it. So I've got a huge toolkit really that I can draw on. So that's the story.
That's an incredible story. I just want to highlight some highlights. It's so what stood out for me there is when you said people that need coaching also may need healing, or people vice versa, people that need healing may need coaching, because often people will go to coaching or even business coaching, business support, thinking, oh, I need to get my business where I want it to be, or so on. And then as you start to peel back the layers, you may see yourself as a practitioner, you may see that actually what the person needs is healing in order to achieve those life objectives as well.
Absolutely. And you know, quite often, as I said, when I was working with small business owners, when I went in purely as a consultant, I found that I was initially doing more coaching. And as time has gone on, some of those people who I originally went to on a consulting basis, they've come to me for various healing modalities or sessions too, because usually what you find is when something has gone wrong in your life, when something's not working, in your business, or something's not working in your life, there will always be, in my experience, a connection. And quite often when you unravel the emotional side through coaching, or you do some energy healing, whether that is pure energy healing, whether it's one of the known modalities such as Reiki or Rahani, whether it's sound therapy, you actually find that there's a knock-on effect and lots of things start to come together. And some of the practices I use, they don't fit purely in one camp or the other. You know, are they coaching? Are they healing? Sometimes it's hard to say. They really serve both purposes, and it really is about understanding what's going on for the person and working through whatever the session is to get the best out for them. So, for example, I do some journey processes, which, you know, borders on hypnotherapy, but it's not. But you put people in a deeply relaxed state, and it's partly coaching, but it's partly healing, because you're working on such a deep level. And I find that if you can heal people with some of the emotional stuff that is usually so deep-seated and, you know, happened such a long time ago, that an awful lot of stuff then suddenly starts pinging off, and they can suddenly go into a different mode, overdrive or whatever it is, and things start coming together for them. So, you know, that's one way that I work. Alternatively, you know, I have a framework, my reboot protocol, which is 90 days, and we go from crisis to control, working through the 10 main areas that I have over the years discovered that people lose, people give up as they descend down into the chaos and crisis. There are things about themselves that disappear, that they knowingly give up or involuntarily suppress or give up. So things like, the first thing is there's no balance in life, and you start to notice this complete imbalance, and everybody that comes to me is out of balance in some way. There are issues with image, and usually that is all internal. It's a self-image thing. So quite often the people I'm working with, they're out there, they're dressed up, they show up, they have the clothes on, they have the makeup on, and they're going, everything's fine, nothing wrong. But they're putting this image out to the world, there's a mask on, and really they're hiding behind that, because as professional women particularly, we're so used to being in control and putting on this face, everything's fine. And even when it's not, we actually don't want to admit it. So there's a whole image thing going on, and really it's putting on a mask or more masks to hide both what's going on and who you actually are. You lose sight of it. And part of that also is the real you then isn't there, so you lose your impact. And people are then either not listening, or you're not expressing yourself as you normally do. And even if you think you are, actually you're not, and people can see that. It's very subtle, but as we disappear inside ourselves, these things happen. We lose that impact. Our imagination is either in complete overdrive, as in we're thinking all sorts of things are happening that might not be, or we literally shut down and we can't think of a way out, because, well, it's a perpetual circle. So we're imagining all sorts of stuff which is in our heads that might not actually be happening, and therefore we can't imagine our way out of it either, because we don't know what to do. So our skill at working things out starts to collapse as well. And so we're stuck. We can't be creative or innovative and get ourselves out of there. That shuts down. We stop listening to our intuition. That is a key thing when people are shut down, when they're actually not doing what they know they should be doing, or the right thing for them, and their intuition is there on their shoulder, Jiminy Cricket, or telling them, but somehow they've closed their ears off, they're not listening, they can't do it. And I work through these things with people. We start off, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10, overall, and with each of these areas. And then it's like, what's in the gap, and how do we fix it? So we address all of those things and more. And that's a quick sort of run through some of the areas in the program that I have available. But it's not like I'm not fixated on the program, because not everybody needs that. Not everybody has the same issues. So it's there, but we work, according, as I said, to the individual and what they specifically need.
And so often I hear when I'm in conversations where the person says they've told me their journey, and then they say, I just realized at that point that I had completely abandoned myself. And actually, if I'm really honest, I never really had myself. And so something really big happens, like you've described, big major life events, losing a family relative, a spouse leaving, a child leaving home, so to speak, big life events, leaving a lifetime job. Very big life events are facts of life. They're things that happen and they have really big impacts. But sometimes when these things happen, or major illness as well, or accident, that I hear so often, they go, I just realized I was always putting myself up last, and I had completely abandoned myself. And what you're doing is you're helping the soul to not abandon themselves and to collect all of the pieces, because there are so many pieces. Life is such a kaleidoscopic rainbow, and you're helping that process. And I absolutely agree with you too. If I had only known all of this when I was in my 20s, all of these things. So it's a really great support to just be able to say, hey, person doing life, trying to look perfect and all of that. Life is tough, and this difficult stuff happens to all of us, and it's okay and it's normal, and here's how to work with it.
Absolutely. And that's the other side of it, of course, helping people to recognize the signs before they actually fall into the pit, if you like, so that people, younger people, see it and don't go there. Because of course we show up in this life, and there we are this beautiful baby, and what happens when babies arrive is everybody's looking at the baby and going, oh, what a wonderful creature this is, how, oh, beautiful, blah blah blah. Yeah. But what happens next? As soon as the baby can do anything, they get told, no, stop that, shut up. You know, the little things you remember from your childhood, and it's, you know, almost the first word you hear sometimes is no. And then you go to school and it gets reinforced. You get put into these routines, you get told no a lot by the people in authority. And then, of course, you have little friends, and then, you know, bigger friends, but everybody has their little cliques and little groups. And of course, we all want to be loved and liked. So we chip away at bits of ourselves by trying to fit in with everybody else, even with our little school chums, when, you know, they sort of lead us off into naughtiness that perhaps we wouldn't have done otherwise. And as we get older, you know, perhaps people go into, you know, extreme cases, people end up in gangs, but, you know, it's the gang mentality that prevails rather than the individual mentality. And even if it's not that extreme, you know, we tend to adopt the habits and behaviors of the people that we're around, our friends. So all the while we are adjusting and changing ourselves and potentially losing bits of ourselves along the way. And then, you know, we might have partners, girlfriends, boyfriends, you know, whichever, and we chop off a bit more to fit in with what they want. We've probably we go to work, we get a job, and there comes another mask. Another piece of us has to be squashed down to fit in. So then, you know, we get married, we have children, and all along the way, this beautiful being that arrived as a small child, that's pure and innocent and full of infinite possibility, has been closed down in so many ways, and scarred. You know, let's not forget the wounds and the scarring and the hurts that we actually take inside of ourselves at, you know, a physical and emotional level, to the point where it might not be a life-changing event that happens. It might just be waking up one morning and looking in the mirror going, who's that? Who is that? Where have I gone? And particularly women are very, very good at putting everybody else first, at hiding themselves, hiding their own needs, and really suppressing their own individuality, if you like, which is another aspect that we deal with, because our cultures are designed all the way through to suppress the individual and have everybody working in a way that, you know, conforms with society or the groups of people that we associate with. So it doesn't always have to be a life-changing event. It can be something very minor, where somebody just gets up in the morning and simply goes, what the, enough is enough. I have to put me first. And sometimes people come to me having just had a situation like that, or recognize that, you know, there's something not right in the way their life is. Or it might just be a simple question like, is this all that there is? Is this it? And if you have a is this it moment, then the answer is no, it isn't it. It's just that you have reached a crossroads. And perhaps, as a great mentor of mine said, you know, you're either on the road to love or the road to fear. And really, you know, most of our life, generally, we're on the road to fear, because all these barriers we put in our way are barriers that other people put there, that we adhere to, that we accept, until we reach a point where, no, that's not good enough anymore. And really where we need to be going is the road to love, because at the center of us, that's basically what we are, pure love. And we need to love ourselves and recognize that we are love, we are infinite potential, and that anything is still possible, however old you are, whatever's happened.
Absolutely, so powerful. I've just loved what you say. I was just making notes on that absolute moment of awakening, of is there, yeah, is this all there is? And what do you think this lockdown space is actually creating and offering for people? Because what you're describing is the soul's journey, and the soul's journey is a spiritual one, in the sense that spiritual means self-awareness, my awareness of myself, and how much or how little have I been conditioned by the external circumstances and what people want from me. In most cases, people have been very, very conditioned and influenced by that, to the extent that they don't really know who they are. And the old adage of, you're going on a date, you're going for a job interview, just be yourself, is a real, it's a fallacy, because who really knows who they really are unless they've done all of this wonderful journey work. So what do you think lockdown holds for people in this locked down pregnant pause space that people are having to face?
Yeah, what does it hold indeed? Well, I'm quite happy, to be honest. Admittedly, I live, you know, it's only a little house, but there's only me and the dog and the cats here, so there's plenty of space. And it's in the countryside, and I can get out. I don't have to go out in public. I've got miles of country estate to walk around, so that's good. So I'm fine. But very early on, I recognised that a lot of people are not. First of all, they don't know either how to live with themselves on their own, or they don't know how to live with all the other people in their household that aren't normally there. Whichever way it is, people can be struggling. So, you know, if it's the isolation because they suddenly find themselves on their own, not able to go out, or if it's because they find themselves surrounded by people, they struggle, because it's a whole new reality for them to deal with, and they can't do everything that they're used to. And mentally, for a lot of people, that creates huge issues, and you see it every day with how people are posting on social media about how they're responding to it, and how a lot of people are angry. People are angry, people are depressed, people are drinking, people are eating, people are, feeling guilty if they're not learning stuff, if they're not baking bread or making cookies or doing all these things. And it's hard because we are all individuals and we've all had different experiences and we're all in different stages of our journey. So we will all experience it differently. But my response to it was to recognize that people do need something. And so with a friend of mine, I set up a group on Facebook called The Energy Connection. And we've got, something around 150 members that came in really quite quickly. And it's just a group for people to come together. There is no moaning about the virus or woe is me or I'm a victim type stuff. It is a zone where only positive input is requested. So, and it's not a business thing. It's not a place where people can come in and promote their businesses. It's purely about keeping our energy up, because I think if you can keep your energy at an appropriate level, you can deal with your emotions. And I think a lot of people are just going up and down, up and down. It's almost like half the world's gone bipolar, not, wanting to trivialize that in any way whatsoever. But it's like people are either on, sometimes they're manic, absolute high, running around doing loads of stuff, doing courses and doing exercise and creating stuff and homeschooling. And, it's like mad, crazy busy. And then they go into a crash, complete slump, and they drink a bit more, eat a bit more, just stay in bed a bit more. Some people just don't want to get up because they're like, oh, I'm not achieving this. I can't do what I planned to do. I know people who are upset because they had holidays and traveling planned, or they had business stuff planned, things that they can't do. And they get all, great, I've got a pause to do stuff. And then when it doesn't all happen as fast as they want, or they feel a bit tired, then the guilt and everything steps in. So what we do in the Energy Connection is we have a daily Zoom meeting. It can be 10:30, it can be 12 o'clock. On May Day, we had cocktail hour at 5 o'clock, which turned into cocktail 3 hours. And I think there was a few sore heads the next day, but we laugh. We actually laugh a lot, and we focus on all sorts of aspects of energy and how you can keep your energy up there. And I'm not just talking physical energy. We're talking, mind, body, soul energy at every level. So things like breathing, all the usual stuff, breathing, taking a moment, drinking the water, eating properly, taking time to just be, which we never do. That's all part of building up your energy, recognizing that there's energy attached to so much, to memories, to our thoughts. We've done a lot on thoughts and about how obviously your thoughts create your reality. And, whatever you're thinking about is very likely what you're going to get more of, whether it's what you want or what you don't want. And so we've talked about strategies to avoid the negativity and to focus on what will come next, what you want, whether you think it's possible or not. Now, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm supposed to be in Italy. I was due to fly out and complete on my house in Italy on the 18th of March. So the flight was the 15th of March. It was cancelled. So right now, I don't know when it's going to happen. Now, I could be in a huge energetic slump about all that, but I'm not. I refuse to be. So instead, I am every day, I attempt to do something that is linked to that journey, something that takes me a little closer towards it, or um, a little part of it, like a table that was going to be upcycled when I got there. It's now sitting in front of me, done, finished. Um, like learning Italian. I'm now on 220 days solid learning some Italian every day. I'm not very good at it, but every day it's a part of my practice. And every day I walk myself through that house, I see myself there. I visualize what it's going to be like, what's going to happen there. So I keep my energy on that house, knowing that it will still happen as soon as it can. And I'm in contact with the people in Italy, and everybody's like, yeah, as soon as we can get you out here, then we'll do it. And then we start working out the logistics. And people don't understand why I'm still so positive. And I'm like, but it's not like somebody's taken it away from me forever. It's still going to happen. It's just not happening right now. So what can I do instead? And even other things that, people say, oh, be in the moment and practice gratitude. And we're like, we play lip service to that sometimes. But I was sat out in the garden when it was the first hot spell. And I suddenly realized that the apple tree at the end of the garden was literally bursting into blossom in front of my eyes. And I watched it. I watched the little buds come up and burst into the flower. And I sat there and they were going one after the other. It was like almost like popcorn. They were just popping into these white flowers. And I sat there and I watched it. And I thought to myself, how often, we don't stop and notice things like that. But also, it's not something that comes into our minds. It's like you have an apple tree and you know that, one day it's looking very wintry and the next day it's all full of blossom. And then the day after that, the wind's blown all the blossom off. When do you actually sit and realize that there is a force of nature going on there, that something's actually happening? Never mind, see it happening in front of your eyes. And that is just truly, truly wonderful. And I sat and watched that, and I was spellbound. But the analogy associated with that is that it's nature and it's energy that is making that happen. We are beings of nature. We are created of energy. We have that sort of power within ourselves to use this space to blossom. And that blossoming, before anybody is like, yeah, well, I don't know this, and people get very kind of insular and very much on the I can't. Blossoming is about blossoming into you. It's not about becoming a superstar. It's not about becoming instantly famous. It's not about suddenly becoming, seriously wealthy. The blossoming, in my view, is blossoming into who you are truly meant to be. And I think this lockdown time, if we take stock, we can take stock of ourselves, and we're being given an opportunity to find out who we truly are. And I think it's a positive thing. Never mind everything that is around it. There's some horrendous stuff going on, and we can focus on that, or we can focus on what can I do with this time. What is my life going to look like out of the other side of it. And that's what I choose to do. So I'm treating it as a positive opportunity.
What beautiful words, Elizabeth. What beautiful, beautiful words. I absolutely agree. And so what are you going to do when you get to Italy? When you get to Italy?
Okay, when I get to Italy, well, we got a bit of painting and renovation to do first, maybe a bit of plumbing. There's not many bathrooms. There's lots of bedrooms, but not a lot in the way of bathrooms at the moment. So once we've got some extra bathrooms in, it's a beautiful space. It is on the edge of a village. So it's got the best of both worlds. It's rural, but it's not. In the sense that you kind of come round the back of the village down this little lane, and there's the house, and at the back of the house you just have completely open aspect with glorious views of the countryside. It's only 10 minutes drive to the beach, so it's the Adriatic coast, which is totally stunning and unspoilt. It's a completely unspoilt area of Italy. If we go inland a bit, we have national parks for hiking and trekking, and apparently there's wild bears up there as well, and wolves, and there's a nature that's a really wild bear, and there's conservation work going on as well. And then you go a bit further, not too far, and there is an amazing well, there's lots of amazing little ski resorts, including one that is quite big and which nobody in England really knows about. And a lot of the people from Naples and Rome go there, but it's a pretty interesting area. So it's in a location where there's lots to do. So what am I going to do when I get there? It's a haven, or it's going to be a haven. So people can come out and just spend some time, just be. Then come out and stay and do nothing. Then come out and stay and have a VIP coaching experience. Then come out and be part of a retreat. They can run a retreat. You know, I've got lists of people who want to come and run various retreats, but I'm not going to be, you know, you have to come to my house and do yoga at 6 o'clock every morning and drink green smoothies. You can if that's what you want, we can arrange it. But also I envisage people coming and doing lots of different things, maybe art or healing art. Yeah, there could be some health type stuff. We could go trekking, we could go skiing, we could go walking, we could just sit around and do not very much at all. There is a cantina about 5 minutes down the road where they actually produce the local wine, so that's quite dangerous. There's a chef in the restaurant round the corner who's come out of a Michelin star restaurant. There's lots of Italian nonnas around that I've met. I mean, they adopt you. I met these two lovely ladies who had, I think, about 3 teeth between them, and they just lived just down the road. And I've never been anywhere where I had such a warm welcome. So I envisage that people will come. Maybe we'll have some Italian ladies come in and show us how to cook properly, Italian style. And then we'll cook together, we'll eat together, we'll have a drink, or, you know, or we won't, we'll do nothing. So it is a place which has so much possibility, and it's not going to be driven in one direction or another. And of course, naturally from there, I can practice coaching, healing, everything that I do already. So it's exciting, and I'm just visualizing it, because there's 3 floors, and the top balcony is just the most awesome view, looking over over the fields and the vineyards, and it's a beautiful place to sit, either for sunrise or sunset. I think the sun moves around, so it's um, it's a very special place, and it's special for a number of reasons. I'd previously found a house, and then I realised it didn't meet all the criteria. Well, I found new criteria actually, and I said to the agent, I said, I need more flow. Now, before I even got to see this house, I was getting signs that it was the right place. We pull up into the village and we park, and there is this statue there, big life-size statue. And I looked at it and I said, oh, is that Padre Pio? Padre Pio, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a very famous Italian priest, monk, who went around, he had stigmata, and, you know, he literally, I don't know all his story, but he was a hero of my uncle, who had literally died a few months before. So I thought, this is quite fascinating that Padre Pio is here. So that's almost like my uncle's going, you're on the right route. Then we get to the end of the street, and the street sign is on the house, on the corner, and it says Via della Fontana, Fountain Street. You can't get much more flow than that. And I walked in, and literally my jaw is dropping. The flow around the downstairs is absolutely perfect. And then, of course, by the time I get to the top floor and looking out from the top terrace over the countryside, I'm like, and I looked at the agent and he's like, this is it, isn't it? I'm like, absolutely. I said, how do you know? He said, I can just tell. And that was 2.5 years ago. And I knew it was the house. And then there's been all sorts of logistical issues with getting it. It's even been sold before, and it fell through because of something happening, not in Italy, but in the UK. And I have stuck firm to the fact that that is my house. And there's the agent, also, he took a picture of me on that top terrace, and it's on his website. So I'm like, there you go. He put me in the house. It can't be anybody else's. So it's already, even though I don't have the keys yet, it's already a magical place. And I know it's full of so much potential and possibility. And I'm getting so excited about welcoming people out there. I can't wait.
Well, Elizabeth, you know, I really love a good story. You've just taken me on a fabulous romantic novella to Italy, to this magical place that not many people know about. And I love it when you said that I'm sure the Italian mamas will teach you how to cook properly, and how they adopt you and the welcome. And I just, that warm welcome that you've just taken me through, that you've got in Italy, with the people, the beautiful countryside, the wine, and the house, and the energy. That's how welcoming you are as a person. That's how much you welcome beings into themselves, into their own awakening.
Gosh, thank you. And I saw you put me there as the soul fixer, which is not a name that I gave myself. Somebody called me that, and I'm like, okay, but really that's what I do, because the soul is throughout every aspect of us. And if I can help people fix and tune in to who they truly are, then they are tuning into their souls.
Well, that just made my soul sing, and my heart. And Oh, Elizabeth, it's been an absolute, I knew it would be amazing. I knew that we'd really resonate. And it's just been like a beautiful, gentle remembering and lovely embrace to talk with you today and the other day. It's been so lovely to hear your extraordinary story. It's extraordinary, and yet so many people go through such challenges, such change. The positivity and the embrace that you relate to destiny with is really remarkable. And actually, for my money, that's the way to do it.
Indeed, it is. Indeed, yeah. Thank you. It has been my absolute pleasure to be here and to talk to you. So thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you. And how can people contact you, work with you, connect with you? I'll put the links on the item anyway, but just tell us in words.
Okay, my website is simply, http:// all the rest of it, elizabethcarney.co.uk. And you can email me on liz@elizabethcarney.co.uk. That's simple. And my Facebook page of the same name, elizabethcarney.co.uk. So I thought let's keep it simple.
Keep it simple, sir. And your Facebook group, your energy group, what's that called again?
That is called the Energy Connection.
Great.
So you can just search for the Energy Connection. I'll send you the link, and it's open to anybody, all welcome, and you can join us on any of our Zoom calls. The more the merrier.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm sure many will, and especially for that cocktail hour, I've no doubt.
Yes, there will be another.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and yeah, I just bless and praise you. You are just an extraordinary person, and it's my honor to showcase you and your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.